Okay, what if I told you that the world you see and feel every single day is just an illusion? I know, it sounds wild, but that's the core idea behind a philosophy called pure non-dualism. It basically challenges everything we think we know about reality, and in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what that means and, why it might actually matter.
So, to really get our heads around this, let's start with a classic brain teaser. You've definitely heard this one before. But what's so cool is how our source material uses the answer to this riddle to unlock a really profound truth about how our existence is even structured.
So, what's your first instinct? Of course it makes a sound, right? I mean, a tree crashing down is going to be loud. And yeah, that common sense answer feels totally obvious. But if we look just a little closer, we find a distinction that honestly underpins this entire philosophy.
Well, from a pure physics standpoint, the answer is, surprisingly, no. The source explains it like this. A falling tree creates pressure waves in the air. Think of it like a radio station broadcasting invisible waves out into the world. But here's the thing. Without a receiver, like an ear and a brain, to actually interpret those waves, the experience we call sound just doesn't happen. It's just silent vibration.
And this simple riddle perfectly illustrates a fundamental rule of the reality we think we live in. For any experience to happen, whether it's hearing a noise, seeing a color, feeling the wind, you absolutely need two separate things. A perceiver, that's the subject, and something to be perceived, the object. That separation, that's the very definition of duality.
So, this idea of duality is basically the building block of our entire world. It's the foundation for literally everything we experience. But here's the massive twist our source material throws at us. What if this fundamental rule isn't a rule at all? What if it's actually a grand illusion?
Duality is just the default setting for our minds. It's me in here and the world out there. I am the one watching, and the universe is this giant collection of stuff that I'm watching. The source says it's like looking in a mirror and thinking you're totally separate from your reflection. But what if you're not? What if that separation is the whole trick?
Okay, this is where things get really mind-bending, so stick with me. The source points to ideas from quantum physics, where, at the smallest levels of reality, the very act of looking at something actually changes it. The observer and the observed aren't really separate things. So if we follow that logic all the way, the whole idea of a separate you and a separate universe just starts to fall apart. See, if the universe can't exist without you there to see it, then you can't exist without a universe to be in. They're two sides of the same coin. And if you take away that separation, what's left? Just a single, unified oneness.
Right, but that brings up a huge question that almost nobody ever asks. If it's all just one thing, what exactly are we one with? And according to the source, this is maybe the most critical distinction you can possibly make on this path. This slide right here gets to the absolute core of it. So let's break it down. On one side, you have traditional non-dualism. This is kind of like becoming lucid in a dream. You suddenly realize, whoa, I'm dreaming this. I am the mind creating this entire illusory world. It's a huge realization. But pure non-dualism says there's one more step, waking up from the dream completely and realizing you're one with the source of reality that exists beyond the dreaming mind itself.
And according to this philosophy, realizing you're the creative mind behind the whole show is a massive step. It's a profound spiritual achievement for sure. But it's also seen as a potential dead end if you stop there, if you mistake that powerful creative mind for the ultimate source, which our source material calls God. So it's a vital part of the journey, but it's not the final destination.
And this is where the source material zooms in on the teachings of one particular master. It uses the name J for Jesus, but it frames his message in a really specific way. Not in a traditional religious context, but as a teaching focused only on this final, uncompromising step, waking up fully into pure non-dualism.
The logic laid out here is incredibly simple and totally absolute. It goes like this. If the ultimate source, God, is perfect and eternal, well then anything it truly creates would also have to be perfect and eternal, right? But just look around you. Nothing in our physical world lasts forever. Everything changes. It decays. Therefore, this entire world of our perception, it can't be a true creation of God. From this point of view, you see it for what it is, a temporary illusion, not the real deal.
And this brings us to the really crucial point, the uncompromising choice that's at the heart of this teaching. You can have your universe, this world of separation, time, and change, all built on that illusion of duality. Or you can choose reality with a capital R, the eternal, unchanging oneness of God. But according to this path, you just can't have both.
So how on earth do you make a choice that big? Well, the path offered is through something the Source calls true humility. And it's really important we get what this means. This isn't about beating yourself up or thinking you're worthless. It's about a radical kind of letting go. It's surrendering the ego's belief that I am the author of my life, and instead accepting a higher power as your one and only source.
Okay, I know this all sounds super abstract, but the Source actually lays out a really practical way to apply this mindset in our daily lives. It's a method called advanced forgiveness. Now, the absolute core of this practice is to stop judging everything you see in the world. And why is that so important? Well, because the moment you judge something as good or bad or right or wrong, you make it real in your own mind. You're basically casting a vote and saying, yep, this illusion is real and it really matters to me. And every single time you do that, you just chain yourself a little more tightly to the dream. And the goal here isn't to, die and go off to some better place. The teaching, as this quote suggests, is that the kingdom of heaven isn't some future destination. It's a present reality, right here, right now, just hidden in plain sight. We just can't see it because our physical eyes, well, they were designed to see the illusion, to see the dream. They're not equipped to see reality itself.
And this really gets to the heart of the practice. It's a totally radical shift. Your job isn't to fix a broken world, or even to fix yourself by trying really hard to be more loving or more spiritual. Your real job is so much simpler. It's to recognize the mental blocks, the judgments, the fears that you've built up, and just ask for help in letting them dissolve. The whole goal is to simply remove the barriers to the love and perfection that you, at your very core, already are.
So in the end, this entire philosophy really just boils down to a constant, moment-by-moment choice. Every situation, every person, every single challenge you face, it's all presenting you with a question. As the slide asks, is this here to keep you a prisoner, or is it here to set you free? You can use it as more evidence that the illusion is real, which just reinforces the prison walls, or you can see it as a lesson, an opportunity to forgive the illusion and take one more step toward waking up. The choice in every single moment is always yours.